So this is DJI Action 4. Been playing around with it and trying to get it to, trying to push it and see where I can go with it and see what I can do with it. A thing I really like to do is take Starlapses, which time lapses the stars. I've been doing a lot with the Sony A7 III where it just takes a sequence of images, typically 1800 to 2200 images. I process them in Lightroom and then I put them in Adobe Premiere, and it takes the sequences of images and automatically strings them together and makes a thing. So this has the advantage of taking a video, of just doing it for you, taking the pictures and then making a video. And this version, I think 3 did it too. It'll take all of those images and save them as a raw file also. So if you don't like the way the video looks, or you can just use the video as like a marker and then process all those images in Lightroom, just like I would with the Sony camera. So that way, if the image is kind of flat or anything, you can dehaze it or something like that and take and make the stars pop more. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll put them side by side and take a look, and then we'll talk about it, because the making a video, having the video already made and just like dumping out there and maybe modding it a little bit, you can't really do much in the video. You can add like a layer and that's okay, but if you can do the raw images and do that, it's incredibly time consuming, but the results should be better. So let's just put them side by side here, or actually here, and then I'll just talk about it. This is not a Lightroom tutorial or anything like that, so I'm just going to show you real quick. I'm going into Lightroom. I usually add some highlights. I darken my shadows, lighten it, and darken the black a bit. I dehaze, and that should start making some of the and clear it up a little bit. That should make some of the stars pop a little bit more, which is the whole point. And then I just sync it across all of the images, which in this case it's probably right around 13. I'll do 1,380 of them, because then that's when the sun starts coming up and it starts to get a little too bright. So I sync all of these. I make a setting change and I sync them all. There's got to be a better way, but that's the way I do it. Again, that's why this is a tutorial. You could probably figure out a better way. And now I have all of these done. I'll export them into JPEG format and then put them in Adobe Premiere. So now let's take a look. So on your left, when you're facing it, on your left is going to be just video time lapse, and on the right is going to be all of the raw images put together. The raw images is a little bit nicer. I can manipulate the video a little bit better. The stars, I can get the stars to pop a little bit more. Basically, I just darken the sky a bit so that way the stars come out a little bit brighter. But the video time lapse, I don't have to do anything. I just pull it off the camera and go. I could add a little bit of filtering too, but filtering an image or video isn't that good, whereas filtering an image, the stars don't pop still as much as I don't know what the exposure I should put at. But, yeah. If I had to choose, I'd definitely do the RAW, but the RAW takes, in this case, that's 1,300 images. So you have 1,300 images you have to process, which on my i9 with 8 cores takes about an hour. When I do that setting when I make those settings in Lightroom, and then I export all of them in JPEG, and then I go into Premiere and I take the image sequence and I dump it in there, and that does it automatically, and then it takes about 2 minutes to export. Whereas the video, I really don't have to do anything. Just take it and dump it up. Ideally, you'd want to manipulate it a little bit so that way the stars will come out more, but just in the sake of being lazy, that's a lot easier to do. But that's why I do it with the Sony. The Sony, I can take a very sharp image of the stars, give like these are all 20-second, 15? No, these are 20-second exposures, because the sensor is a little bit smaller, so I want to make sure enough light is sucked in, so to speak. I don't know. It's still not as good as this. I'm holding a very, very high bar though. The Sony taking individual images is much better, but push comes to shove, raw images is nicer, just more work. And I can really dial in those pictures. I'm doing a 20-second exposure, maybe, or 15-second exposure. Let me double check that number. It's a picture every 25 seconds, and my manual exposure is 20 seconds. So with this, I can go all the way up to 30 seconds. So this is 20-second exposure on RAW. I mean, this is a small sensor, so the more time you give it to absorb light, the better. Maybe the next test is gonna have to be like a half a minute, 30 seconds. You know what I mean. So yeah, the options are there. If you give me options like that, I think it makes the just camera that much stronger. So DJI is so far up to, what is it? It's the end of August 2023. They make the superior stuff as far as action cameras go. GoPros are trash. DJI Action is what everything should be.